What's up, guys? So let's talk about my meat prep. I haven't really talked about it much. I am about a month away. My meet is on October 5th. I am recording this on September 1st. I don't know when it's going to get uploaded. But we're getting close. And basically, I've been kind of doing it by ear, but with structure. I've been benching 2 days a week, with one day being like competition bench press. And that's my day one. It's competition bench press, followed by close grip paused incline. And then my day two is buffalo bar Larson press. And it's and that's, you know, the main movement. And that's really the only pressing movement I do that day. And then I do some minor accessories, but I'll break them down day by day. I'll probably have some footage going on of them as I talk about it. So day one, competition bench press. All I'm doing, I'm coming in, I'm warming up, and I am taking 4 competition singles. The federation I'm competing in, I have my goal bench press weight is kind of right there at the federation world record for my weight class and division, amateur 220 bench press. So, and in this federation, amateur just means drug tested. It's IPA, and that's how they distinguish. A lot of federations that are untested, that have drug tested divisions, the tested division is just called amateur. So I'm taking 4 attempts because there's a chance, you know, I'll be taking a 4th attempt on the day of the meet. And I'm not uber concerned about a federation world record. Kind of the longer you do powerlifting, the more you realize that federation world records don't really mean shit. But what it does is it lets me do 2 things. I can chip the record. So typically in a powerlifting meet, you can only call jumps of 2.5 kilo, jumps of multiples of 2.5 kilos. So, you know, 200 kilos, 205 kilos, 207.5 kilos, 210, things like that. The record as it sits is 210. So I could call 210.5 if I wanted to. I could call 211 kilos if I wanted to, because I have that option there to chip the record. So that it gives me some leeway for attempt selection. And also you get 4th attempts on world record attempts, national records, state records, depending on the feds. And you get chips and stuff in those scenarios too. So it just gives me options. I will be probably competing against myself. I highly doubt that there are any other 220 drug tested bench only guys in this meet, so I will have no competition. It's just, you know, going out there and just me self-experimenting basically is what this meet is, and comparing to my last few meets. But so that option's there for a 4th attempt and to chip the record. So I'm practicing, you know, 4 heavy attempts on this day, and then I do a heavy back off triple, which is the last 2 weeks has been 415 for a set of 3, and then I'll take it down to 325, and then do 1 to 3 sets of triples with that, or doubles, and that's just based on if the bar speed goes away, then I call it, but it's no more than 3 sets and no less than 1 set, obviously. And then I'll go to pause close grip inclines, and I'm basically working my way up to heavy triple, double, and single, and then doing a back off AMRAP, and trying to be in the 7 to 12 rep range, somewhere in there, on my back off AMRAP, just to get a little more hypertrophy. But the pause close grip inclines for me, I miss high in my bench presses. I think a lot of people with really good setups and they get a decent arch. I don't have the big uber arch as some of the smaller weight classes do, but I do get a pretty good arch and a really tight setup. And we tend to miss high in the press. And I think incline bench press in general can help there, especially with a close grip. But I found like pausing it even more, it really kind of simulates that same sticking point that we tend to have on our competition bench press, and it feels very much the same trying to drive through that point. So I think it helps a lot in, building strength through that part of the lift and building confidence through that part of the lift, for getting a feel for it, because you can really manipulate with the pauses how long you want to pause or not, and you can keep the intensity down a little bit as such, and the longer you pause, the harder it's going to be to drive through that sticking point. So I've found that to be really, really good, something to maybe take note of for the rest of you guys, especially if you tend to miss high in your bench press and or you have a really tight, compact setup and a good arch. Something good to take note of there. On my day 2, Buffalo Bar Larson press, I'm extending the range of motion, making it a harder variation is the main thing here. I'm working up to 1 heavy single, and it really ends up being kind of 2 heavy singles, because I'll do 4 plates, which our Buffalo bar is 51 pounds, so it'd be 411 pounds, and then I'll typically do like 1 more single after that. Sometimes it'll just stay that again. I did 431 last week, but I've done like 421, 426, etc. But it's usually just that, and that's really just to prime me. I still want to get that heavy feel with a difficult variation, but I also like doing a heavier single before I do volume. And right now I'm working in the 5 rep range with this, so I will do these heavy singles, and then I will drop down, and I've been linearly progressing sets of 5. I don't know which footage I'm showing you, but I think I'm up to 331 or 336. I can't remember. Maybe 341. The number itself doesn't really matter to me a whole lot, just as long as I'm progressing. And I'm doing 2 sets of 5 and then an AMRAP. The 2 sets of 5, and the first rep is paused on these, and I'm pausing my heavy singles, of course. And then the 2 sets of 5 are just, like really good building force, power off the chest, acceleration, etc. And then the AMRAP, I'm still doing the first one pause, so I'm getting good practice there. And then, building muscle in that deep stretched position. I don't know how far I'm going to carry these. Like I said, I'm really close now. And I don't know if I'm going to put my feet down at some point with these. But at this point, like my bench is moving really well, so I don't feel a need to change it. And I think I'm just going to ride these out till the end. The footage was in here earlier. Maybe I'll re-show it if I remember to re-edit it in. I benched 450 yesterday. 0 hype, 0 like amping up, like very low on the arousal curve. And that's how I've been trying to do this prep. And it felt great. I weighed 225 on the dot that day, so it was exactly 2 times body weight. The record, like I said, is 210 kilos, which is 463. So I'm in a good position. If I'm hitting 450 with no hype at 225, I was actually this morning I was 223.6. Yesterday was a weird day for me though, so I don't know how much of an oddball weigh-in that's going to be. I did eat a little extra today because it made me nervous. I have gradually been, working my daily weigh-ins kind of down closer to 220. I don't want to do too big of a water cut this time. So everything is trending in the right direction. My weight is trending in the right direction. My strength seems to be trending in the right direction. Training is going well. So like I said, with that day 2, I don't really feel compelled to change anything. I thought about like making it more specific by putting my feet down, but everything's moving well right now. I'm still training lower body on my other days. I'm not pushing heavy weights with any sort of hinging variations, deadlifts, RDLs, front squats. I haven't even been tempted to do back squats. Just trying to take it easy on my back in general. And then I've been keeping my cardio in. My steps have been up. And I'll probably like a week and a half out, I'll really look at dialing back the cardio a little bit. The last 2 meets, I've sort of kept it in for the most part and not dialed it back a whole lot. And I do a lot of cardio. I enjoy it. It helps keep me sane, but I think I'm going to intentionally dial it back for a little bit this time. But otherwise, I'm just going to ride this on up into, the last 1 week out or so. And I'll probably still, even the Wednesday before the meet, still do my regular day 2. Just, lighter, of course. Not as heavy as I've been doing it. And then just having a Thursday and Friday off to recover from an easy session should suffice well enough. And obviously that Saturday before, I'm not going to do like the 4 heavy singles and work all the way up and take exactly what's there. I may still do 4 singles, but it's not going to be, ramping. It'll be much smaller and just much more oriented toward, like practice reps, if you will. Not really looking for a whole lot of stimulation, activation, etc. at that point. Just trying to be dialed in and focused for the meet. So that's how my prep's been going, and that's what it's going to be up until the end. Peace!